everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dr. Shivani Gupta, and today we're going to talk about inflammation and women's health and the hidden dangers that inflammation has on our body that we may not realize. So here's the thing, so many of us don't realize that there's this silent killer within us that's causing damage, wreaking havoc, and really working against us when it comes to our health goals. So that's what we're going to dive into today. So let's start with the basics. When it comes to inflammation, acute inflammation is when our body releases a response, an immune response to any infection or any injury. And that's a good thing. We want that response. But here's the thing, chronic, low-grade, persistent inflammation is like this fire alarm that's ringing, but oftentimes we don't hear it because the symptoms just aren't loud enough yet. But once those symptoms are loud and we start to hear them, it's almost too late, because that fire has been burning within us, it's been damaging us and causing problems. And here's the thing, when it comes to women's health, a lot of us as women suffer with different problems than men do. When it comes to women's health, we know that autoimmune disease is more prevalent in women than in men. So if you're struggling with a newfound autoimmune disease like lupus or rheumatoid arthritis, it's time to go look at, are you inflamed? Are your inflammatory numbers up? And is it inflammation you have to address first, along with gut health, to address that autoimmune? Then when we talk about hormonal imbalances, which is something so many of us are struggling with, that also is tied to inflammation. So when we look at women's health, the menstrual cycle, PCOS, endometriosis, fibroids, uterine fibroids, are all tied to inflammation. So a lot of the gynecological or reproductive issues that we're dealing with as women are affected by inflammation. Then you get into pregnancy, reproductive age, even during that time. So many of us are having issues with lost pregnancies, with IVF, with different issues. All of that can be tied to inflammation as well. So it's one of those things where every system of medicine is tying back to inflammation, but we aren't always addressing inflammation at that root cause lifestyle level, which can make the biggest difference of all. And then finally, when it comes to inflammation, we don't realize that our own chronic fatigue, our own brain fog, all these symptoms we feel as we age are also tied to inflammation. So if you've hit your 30s and you're like, oh, I'm tired, I can't stay up as late, I don't get enough sleep, my brain's not working the same, just wait till your 40s and 50s where that gets even louder. And the thing is, that's not aging, that's inflammation. It's all tied to inflammation. So when we look at inflammation as the root cause, we can then take really great action to start to reverse it and undo it and start undoing some of these problems that stack up due to inflammation. So here are the signs that you're dealing with inflammation. And the tricky part is chronic inflammation can usually be so quiet, it's causing a stack up of symptoms, but you may not realize it. So the number one way people know that inflammation is a problem is persistent fatigue. Are you feeling tired all the time? Every day you wake up tired, in the afternoon you're tired, in the evening you're tired. That's a sign that you're inflamed because the body is battling with inflammation and that is making you tired. And so that's the number one way to know. Number two, joint pain and muscle pain. So oftentimes when we have joint pain, we're like, oh, my elbow hurts, my knees hurt, hips, back. When you start mentioning all those things that hurt, it's usually in our joints, but it can also be in our muscles. So if your muscles are sore and you haven't even worked out to cause that muscle soreness, then it's time to go to the doctor and say, hey, am I inflamed? Is there something going on here? My body is not meant to hurt every single day. That can be inflammation. Number three, digestive issues. So many of us have digestive issues. We eat a meal, we've got bloating, we've got IBS, the body isn't reacting well to what we're eating. That's not just part of aging. That's not just digestion. That's inflammation. If you're inflamed and food coming down the pipeline always irritates you, it's time to look at inflammation as that culprit that's causing havoc in the system. Point number four, skin issues. Are you having skin issues like acne, eczema? Anytime the skin is reacting on the surface, that's a time to look at inflammation and look at our gut health and say, hey, what's going on underneath the surface that's causing my body to push something out onto the skin like a red fire alarm and say, I have to deal with this. And then point number five is mood. If your mood is affected, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling depressed, it's time to look at inflammation. The moment we hear that, we think gut and inflammation. And that's usually an easier place to start when it comes to any mood disorders that we're dealing with, if we can address it with inflammation first, that's the easiest place to go to affect mood, affect health. We know that there's a vagus nerve connecting the gut-brain axis. And so if we're inflamed in the gut, it's going to be inflamed in the mind. And that's that neuroinflammation we want to avoid. So think about these signs for yourself. Are you feeling like, gosh, I am tired all the time, and my body does hurt all the time, and my skin isn't doing so well, and my gut is always upset when I eat? If you go through that checklist and you're feeling like these are your symptoms, it's time to go get checked out for inflammation, do some blood work, see your doctor, and dive deeper into what is that underlying cause causing the troubles that you're experiencing in your body today. So what's fueling this inflammation fire? What are these triggers of inflammation that we may not realize? Well, the first is the dietary factors. So processed sugar is going to spike our blood sugar levels and cause inflammation. Number 2, within the food section is unhealthy fats. If we're going to eat unhealthy fats like seed oils that are in every single processed food that we buy on the grocery store shelf, that's going to spike our inflammation. And so that new awareness can help you shop much more intelligently at the grocery store to avoid those different seed oils. There are better choices available now. Then number 2, moving into stress. When we have stress in our system, that increases our cortisol, and that increase in cortisol causes inflammation in the system. The thing is, so many of us lead busy lives, and so managing cortisol and not being stressed all day isn't the easiest thing to do. But do your best, put stress resilience practices in place to help yourself. Also, move more. If we're not moving enough, we're going to impact our body's ability to process inflammation or function properly. So just by having a sedentary lifestyle, all of a sudden we're going to be causing inflammation. Number 3, environmental factors. So we may not realize this, but just the exposure to toxins that we have in our daily life is causing inflammation. That one I find kind of unfair, because just by existing, we're going to get inflamed. But environmental toxins like cleaning products, skincare, air quality, water quality, there are so many pesticides and herbicides around us. And the body receives that as the enemy and has an inflammatory response to it. So shifting that is important. And making sure that you get great sleep is important. If we have poor sleep every day, we're never, ever, ever going to clear our inflammation. That can be really frustrating because many of us have pushed sleep later. We have a lot of responsibilities. And so focusing on good sleep is also a key piece of reducing inflammation and reducing those triggers that are affecting us. And so now that you understand some of these key triggers that are affecting us, now we get to talk about how to solve it. Inflammation in the system is the key to winning at our health. So are you ready to take control of your health and combat inflammation? Well, the first step to doing that is awareness. And that's what you've done today. You've learned about it by watching this video. And the next step is to take hold of these practical steps that we talked about and start implementing them one by one. Even one small change can lead to significant results, especially because one small habit like sleeping better can impact so many other aspects of inflammation and your health. So take these tips today and apply them to yourself, and I can't wait to see how they support you. If you've had inflammation and had a story around what it's done to you, share it below. This community is about helping each other reduce our inflammation, win at our health, and prioritize our health the best that we can. If you've liked this video, if it's helped you, please share it with someone you love, someone who can benefit. Subscribe to my channel where we have so many other great videos about health. Hit the notification bell so you never miss any of these videos. And stay tuned for the next videos coming up where I'm going to talk about women's health, inflammation, Ayurveda, and all the ways that we can prioritize our health together, win at our health each and every day, and feel our absolute best. See you next time.